Hi, this is Peter Gould. This is episode 310, Lantern. I directed this one, and Jenny Hutchison wrote it.
Hey, everybody. This is Vince Gilligan. I'm one of the executive producers.
This is Desa Larkin-Boutté. I am Peter Gould's assistant.
I'm Dave Porter, the composer for the series.
I'm Michael McKean. I play Chuck.
And these two young men are Gabriel Rush and Cole Whitaker.
Yeah.
Gabriel did such a wonderful incarnation of Chuck McGill at age 14. I think he's tremendous.
He's amazing, and I'm so glad I didn't see him beforehand. I didn't watch you shoot this. I didn't meet the guy. Casting nailed it, and he nailed it.
That's true.
It's wonderful. And I have to also give props to our incredible team. This particular shot looks simple, maybe, but it's actually very complicated. And every single department just had to work together. And especially props to Aubrey Hauser and Jax Negro. Aubrey, our key grip, and Jax, who is the dolly grip, who's actually pushing the camera with a techno crane that's got tracks off to the left. It's a big deal. And I was so happy with the way that shot came out.
Well, let's say one quick word about our world-class crew. Never worked with any bunch as good, certainly not better.
They are the best. Now, my understanding is Rhea Seehorn, method actress that she is, actually had to go and beat herself up in the parking lot.
No, she hired a guy.
They hired a guy, yeah.
Hired a biker.
The rolling pin.
Yeah.
Does she need to spend the night?
Once this is done, she'll be discharged.
I saw her when she did her makeup test, and it was that shocking thing. You don't want to see that face like that, especially if it wasn't in story. You're just kind of in the makeup trailer. But it's a great job.
And it's an actual that's an actual cast on her arm. Because cutting the cast open and putting it back makes it too big. So each morning when she had the cast on, we actually put a real cast on her arm, and
Really? They cut it off with a bone saw or something?
They did. They had to cut it off at the end of the day. Yes.
You couldn't CGI it?
Or she couldn't keep it on.
We can CGI anything.
She could have kept it on.
She
What the hell kind of actress is
what
this?
kind of dedication is that?
And Patrick Fabian, and then of course here's
Johnny.
Everybody's listening, waiting for the man to say something.
Now, I got a question. Where was Sir Francis in this scene?
Sir Francis is not a senior. He's not partner level.
Oh, okay.
I think we decided he's one level down.
Okay.
So he does. Sir Francis is in the next scene.
Yes, that's true.
Yes,
He's in the next scene.
So we had to, we had to figure out what the pecking order is at HHM in order to figure out who could be sitting here. And I love the camera work and the dolly work in this, especially this first act of this episode. I'm so proud of it. This particular shot was Marshall's idea, and it was amazing to see the crew put together really a very elaborate rig to glide over this table so quickly.
What was it? A technocrane or is it?
It's not. No, it was on a dolly and a jib arm, I believe.
Yeah.
And it
also offset,
yeah,
so that
offset,
the
exactly.
chassis is actually next to the table on one side.
Absolutely. The tracks, we already had planned tracks laid on the side of the table that's away from the windows, and so it just made perfect sense.
Nice.
And
were you moving away each light as you got to it?
No. I think we're just skimming.
That's what Orson Welles would have done, Peter.
That's right.
Well, I try to be like Orson, except in how I eat.
Well, what I love about that shot, that double dolly, is that it's kind of like walking across the mall in Washington. It's like you keep thinking you're getting closer, but there's still more table to go. And then by the time you get there, you realize that this has been about the power rolling from one end of the table to the other, which is exactly where we wind up.
Oh,
That's true.
I didn't know the camera was acting so well.
Well,
I would have taken it a little easier.
You guys,
you two are so good here.
this is the last scene between you two of the season.
Yeah.
And you and Patrick just did such wonderful work in so many scenes this season. And this relationship has just evolved. right before our eyes. And I guess Hamlin has had enough at this point, finally. And
and he is his own man. He's about the firm, but he really is his own man, and he finds it in himself to do the right thing, I suppose, just to be completely objective about it. But subjectively, he's not like a glib guy using his toolkit. He's really feeling this and calling it as it happens. He's a good actor too.
He is. Patrick he's a wonderful actor. He's also just a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
Somebody you enjoy having on the set. He's just.
If you need to know something about 80s rock,
Oh, yeah?
you definitely want him on the set. Yeah, if it's really, really important to find out who was with Speedwagon when they played Castle Balmoral.
This I think I believe this is my 5th episode of television, directing-wise. And it's the first one that I didn't write, that I directed.
Yeah.
And Jenny Hutchison, she did such a and I wish she were here with us today. She couldn't be, but she did such a wonderful job of writing this episode. And she was on set for quite a bit of it. And she was just, it was a very interesting thing for me as a different kind of relationship.
I certainly appreciate her not giving me too many lines. Gave me a hammer instead.
This is a nice shot. I like this.
Yeah.
This whole sequence came out just as well as I could have dreamed, maybe a little bit better.
I love that. I love that expression. And then you just get resolute there. There he is. There's Sir Francis.
Yeah.
Off to the left.
This is a tricky shot. Another one, we have the techno crane in the lobby, which is something that would not have occurred to me, but Larissa Kondracki, back in, I think it was season 2, she brought the techno crane into this location. I thought, I didn't know you could do that. So I lifted the idea, and it gave us some options here, which feel a little bit different from the way we've seen this location before, and I think, which is right for Chuck.
Yeah. Is that you in the background, Peter? Out of focus?
No,
he's just wearing my glasses. I gave him my glasses.
He doesn't do Hitchcock.
That's some good directing there.
You're
giving him your glasses.
Yeah, I don't like looking at myself, so I don't want to put myself on the show. This is just.
That's a great shot.
It's wonderful. This is something we shot to it. We shot this in slow motion, and we shot it without the slow mo. We just didn't. The moment just didn't require slow motion. It just felt right to run it.
That was kind of douchey there with what Hamlin just did.
Oh, watch! I like that he leaves. That he leads the applause and then he blows it off.
Yeah.
And it's kind of perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It's a great.
It is.
And he is angry, and the anger is barely restrained. You know why he's angry, but that's a nice shot. I like that.
Yeah.
That's Matt Cradle, our B camera operator, found that one. I think Hamlin is. I think there's another reason other than being douchey that he does what he does, because it's public now.
Yeah.
That Chuck isn't with the firm.
Yeah.
And Chuck. There's no way to go back on it. Once this moment is over, there's no way for Chuck to go back in
to
pretend it didn't happen.
George Foreman did.
Yeah, it could be.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Or old Blue Eyes. It's old
That's
Blue
right.
Eyes final tour.
That was probably the wrong way for me to put it, because you know why he's doing it. It's not just a douche move.
It's harsh.
Strategic.
But he's doing something. Hamlin is doing something for himself. He's saying, this is how we work here.
Yeah.
It's all about appreciation, blah, blah, blah. He knows that what's really happening is it's a hostile move. But he also knows that Chuck can't say, hey, what's with the hostile move?
Yeah.
I let you get adored by everyone who works for you.
Yeah.
Openly adored.
Yeah.
What more do you want? It's that wonderful thing that I find in this show sometimes, where people are saying something or doing something that's completely the opposite of what they're really doing. But they get away with it because of their social position, with each other, not in society. I mean, who they are to each other.
Absolutely.
This scene, I will say, was a little scary for me. The way Jimmy is in this part of the story was worried me a little bit because he's so earnest. And usually on our show, just like you said, Michael, usually people aren't saying what they really mean. Right. Their emotions are a little bit buried, and it all, especially in this first act of this episode, it's all a little bit closer to the surface. And I just have to give props to these two performers because it's just all the feeling is there, and I'm just as proud of this scene as I could be.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's one of the great TV romances. You guys have done such a great job with these two, and they're so just plain honest.
Yep.
You know, and it's just.
I agree.
I think that's what makes it work so well.
And what they are to each other is not simple.
No, not
because
at all. Yeah.
what real any relationship is one thing is it ain't. It's simple. And these are two very, very complicated people.
It's interesting too. I'd want to note someone else who could be on this commentary but isn't is Kelly Dixon, who edited this episode. We have our other editor, of course, is Skip McDonald, who's also an these are two incredibly creative, wonderful editors. Kelly, I happen to have edited almost all the episodes that I directed with Kelly. And usually, I have to admit, pretty much every cut is something that I examine and sometimes change. This first act is very, very close to Kelly's editor's cut. I felt she really, for some reason, it all snapped together. And I remember in the editing room feeling like, did I not do my job here? Because this is all working. And then of course we tore apart the rest of the episode. So
you know what I like to do when I'm working with Kelly is just change everything, just randomly.
Yes.
And then just go away and say, try this, and then go away.
Go eat a sandwich.
And then just have her put it all back the way she had it originally. She loves it when I do that.
I have a phrase I use with her. I say, I'm just kicking the tires. Let's try this. Let's try that. I'm just kicking the tires. She does love that.
Do you use the expression, I'm going to beat you up here, like you do with actors, Vince?
Kelly's the one that beats us up.
More like
Let's be honest.
It can be a little bit of George and Martha in there. It's all good.
That's funny. So, Dave Porter, why does Peter Gould hate you so much that he hasn't allowed you to have any music in this episode yet?
Peter Gould's episodes tend to be quiet, actually. Thinking back to some ones going all the way back to Breaking Bad, although that's about to change in this episode.
Yeah,
there's lots of great music.
There's a lot of Dave in this. There's a lot of.
Yeah.
And of course.
And I think also about the penultimate Breaking Bad episode, too, with the big ending with Walton, New Hampshire.
That was the
return of the Breaking Bad theme.
Yeah,
and all that stuff. So
that was awesome.
Peter's had his showcase music moments for sure.
That gave me chills when I heard. I remember that gave us. That happened to you too. That gave me chills when I heard that for the first time. I
was thrilled, and it's interesting because you cut a sequence and it feels like it's working good, and it's something that you're happy with, and then Dave comes in and adds an element that makes everything feel deeper and more powerful and just exactly right. So, of course, Mark Margolis and Michael Mando.
So good.
It's people talk about directing, and the biggest truism of directing is if you cast it right, your job is pretty much done. And these guys are all wonderful.
Yeah, who plays Nacho's father?
That is Juan Carlos Cantu.
So good.
Yes.
It doesn't have much to say. It doesn't need to say much, but it's all right there.
He is so good
on his face.
I haven't had the pleasure of meeting this gentleman yet. You guys, you enjoy working with?
he's wonderful, and he also we're in an interesting situation where we have a lot of non-native Spanish speakers here, and Juan Carlo is a native Spanish speaker, and he's very patient with everyone, and he's just wonderful. He knows how to be still, which is not something that's all that straightforward. He's got a wonderful sense of timing and focus, and he just holds the camera. He holds our attention.
Sure does. And Vincent Fuentes rounds out this scene. He plays Arturo. He's a nice fellow. I've enjoyed directing him. He does a good job.
He's terrific.
Yeah, that's sure you wake up in the middle of the night and see that staring down at you. He's such a sweet guy. He plays such a bastard.
He is.
I love Mark Margolis.
I have only met him maybe once.
Yeah,
Really?
Just like hello in the makeup trailer on the one day we ever were on the set together.
What's the word? Garrulous? Garrulous means talkative, likes talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's garrulous.
Well, he's been around the block.
Garrulous and avuncular.
He is.
That's what he is.
And he lives in not too far from the neighborhood I grew up in Lower Manhattan. So we always have a lot to talk about about the neighborhood.
Well, it's changed a lot.
It has. Oh boy. Google moved in.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah, in an Apple store.
Oh wow.
It's a different world.
Because last time you were there, you're hanging out with Andy Warhol in the factory.
That's right.
Studio 54.
Max's Kansas City.
That was
Sure.
me. That was me.
Were you the guy in Midnight Cowboy? Was that based on you?
Yes. I will say, when I was a small child, I did have that fringe jacket, though.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
I did. And of course, Tina Parker.
Yeah, she delivers.
It's one of the delights of this is just having these characters that we love. But also, one of the problems for us as storytellers is to keep, is that we want to give folks their moment. We want to give all these characters their due, and sometimes that can be dangerous. You can end up having something that feels like a collage of moments. And so the way we've done it is we just try to follow the story, and that's one of the reasons why we have a very important character, a very important actor to us who's not in this episode, Jonathan Banks.
Right.
And I remember when we were breaking it, I struggled with that because I love Mike. And by the way, I knew I was directing this one. I love working with Jonathan Banks. He is fun, and he's just great to work with. But we felt in the end that there was only so much that we could fit into the episode, and ultimately we wanted to give Chuck his due. We wanted to give Charles McGill his due, and we didn't want to have it feel like we were just rushing from scene to scene. So it was a tough decision.
At least in this season, I did get to work with Mike. Chuck and Mike
That's
met,
right.
except Chuck didn't know who Mike was, and we'll never know.
That's one of my favorites. That's one of my favorite scenes.
Well, it was just fun because every time we'd see each other, we'd say, Chuck, we never give us anything together. So a couple old timers,
I love that moment when that's the best. I love that moment where you're coming to, and he's standing on this side of the door, and he goes, guns the cordless drill, and it drives you away. I love that scene.
It's so funny. The timing of it is just perfect. And and here's Dave. Here's a cue.
Hey, music.
About time. What do we pay you for? I don't hear it.
Nah.
We
Goes
got the
by
sound
fast.
turned
Baby
down.
Driver. Everybody's talking about Baby Driver being the big music movie.
Yeah, why don't you do Baby Driver?
Well, when
asked.
they do the series.
Oh, please.
Absolutely.
But it's a very psychological moment. And
I like that she's kind of taken on the role of mom and whatever you call this. It's like a personal assistant, but it's more of an empowerer because she's looking at this woman, this banged up woman, and thinking, well, she has no power. So now I have to run her life. But she also has to follow follow her lead.
If you frame by frame this shot earlier, you would have seen a cameo from our 8-camera operator, Paul Donachie. And
Oh, yeah.
Paul decided he wanted to come through this shot.
And there's a Michael McKean film in the foreground there.
Always.
Which one?
Short Circuit 2.
Oh, right on.
Now
Did you
there's
play
an
the
Easter
robot?
egg.
Who
That's
played
at
the
the
robot?
top of a robot. The
Oh.
robot was played by 5 very nice Canadians.
And where did you find a Blockbuster video in this day and age, Peter Gould?
Well, this is
Stage 4?
this is a very simple set. I was real happy with the way that came out
Yeah,
because
it was great.
it's one single shot, and I have to say the reason why it worked was because of Ray and Tina just being so precise in their blocking and with the energy of the piece, and then also our amazing focus pullers. Because if you watch that shot
Yeah.
again, you'll see some very deft focus pulling. I find very impressive.
And right
and
before
here
you-
they just for some reason he doesn't rack back to the.
I
to-
love it.
to Bob, I don't know why.
Well,
I'm,
because that's-
I'm just kidding.
Think that there's entire generations.
In other
of
words, you were
people
on the
who
set, weren't
Yeah,
will see that
I was-
Blockbuster thing and it won't mean anything to
Oh,
them.
yeah.
that's right.
But to others,
Blockbuster.
it has such a visceral,
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah, once
how
it's
many
gone,
hours were
it's
spent
gone.
on Friday night?
Every Friday night.
Yeah, walking around,
That's true.
trying to find something.
Good. I mean, I'm glad you're.
And here comes a scene.
This is
Might
a heartbreaker.
might very well be the last scene between Jimmy and Chuck. It could be. And this was. I remember being a little irritated because this was the very first scene we shot of the episode. And
Was it?
I usually like to start with something
Oh, I
easy.
hate when that
I
happens.
like to start with something easy.
God.
And arguably this is as significant as anything else.
This was the first day of shooting.
This was the first day, yes.
Oh
and
my
you were
God.
you,
Technically?
you came and you visited.
I did?
Yes, I remember you were eating a sandwich back there.
I was so
and-
drunk, I don't
No,
remember.
you said I like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I
Keep up
was-
the good work.
Keep up the good work.
Gilligan out. Give me a mic to drop. Why? That's terrible. I hate. You guys are such pros, Michael, and Bob is too, and Peter, you too. I hate when that happens.
It
You
doesn't
gotta
matter to
open-
us.
Really?
Really, no.
Okay.
Well, not to me anyway. I can't speak for anybody else. But as long as it makes sense, scene by scene, and the director and others on the set, writer and producers, as long as it makes sense to them scene by scene, I trust that they're going to put it together so that it'll make sense. It doesn't. It really doesn't bother me.
Wow, you guys are. I'm impressed with all three of you. Great job. What was that weird spinny thing we just saw, Dave Porter?
I think they call it vinyl, but I don't know.
Good show.
Yeah,
And that's
no, I love that because he made Michael's character makes that explicit reference to the episode before about having his house filled with music and
Right.
how you guys have that all lit up and so different here.
And that's it never entered my mind. Right? Is that
that's right.
the song? And who is that?
It's Miles
Whose
Davis.
version? It is Miles. There's a Rosemary Clooney version of that song that will make you sit down and cry like a little boy. It's so good.
It's a. I mean, I always have a soft spot for jazz. I'm certainly not expert in it, but it's for some reason we've had more jazz in this show, and I love it.
It annoys me that people think of jazz as kind of what's happening now. That kind of, it's just, it ain't what it was. There's a big history of it.
Oh God, yes. That's one of the wonderful things. We have the ability on this show to draw music from all music in history.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that Thomas is so eclectic, and he brings us so many different ideas that would have never occurred to us. But also, we don't have a network or a studio that's pushing us to only use things that are brand new and contemporary and that are somehow an economic tie-in.
Here's an example of a person saying the truth, saying what he really feels, but also there's a lie here coming. The lie is the punchline. Because it's what it is, it's a weaponized lie. It's not just, listen,
You're going to hurt everyone around you. You can't help it.
that's true.
So stop apologizing and accept it.
Yeah, I love the writing here. I love the directing. I love the acting. God knows. Great job.
you, Chuck.
You didn't do anything wrong.
It's all I had to do was once I saw you. There's this moment when, as a director or as showrunner or as a writer, when you see the actors perform a scene in rehearsal and you go, "Oh, this is going to be great," and then there's this little moment of relaxation that comes, which is all we have to do is just get it on film, get it on digital.
That's the point when I'm directing. I usually leave for the day
That's right.
because I know it's in good hands.
You can check out
You guys
mentally.
got this.
Yeah, well, you got
that's
it.
when I go back to playing Plants vs. Zombies for the rest of the day.
So that's the lie, is that he never mattered.
Yeah.
Right. So he'd said it simply to hurt him, to crush him.
Oh, God.
Well, yes, but he also thinks he's telling the truth. What he
Okay.
really means is nothing positive comes out of you.
Right.
That's what he really means. It matters enormously.
And the lie that I never loved you, and that was we're brothers, we're blood, but that doesn't really. There's no real feeling there. And it kind of the lie gives it just this little look you give him here at the end, when he's not looking. That kind of tells you it's not true. Yeah, I love that. It's so subtle.
You're still here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hasn't left
Well,
yet.
so okay. That's interesting. The way I read it was, maybe it's this one. Okay, yeah, it's this one. I'm sure I got it the wrong look. Yeah, just so sad. Just so sad for both these characters.
It is truly awful because they're only an inch away from having a completely different relationship.
Yeah,
But it's just not going to happen.
not in the cards.
I'm glad we put a little something of the prescription bottles into this, because I think that a person, even with a doctor's prescription, can self-medicate incorrectly and can wind up with an unmanageable situation. I just wanted something to clarify the ending, for me.
That was a good touch. And Peter, that's a small selection of the real meds you're actually.
That's right. This is my bedside table.
No.
My watch isn't as nice, but other than that, it's pretty much exactly it. And this is
watch.
This is
Same
that's
watch,
right.
same
This
watch.
is your watch.
That's the last shot I took.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it really?
That was the last shot.
Yeah.
Then I went next door to the video store, and you all gave me some cake and sent me to New York.
Well, you were very excited. You were about to. You were going on to a wonderful play.
Yeah.
You were doing the Little Foxes.
Which just ended. You were telling me just ended.
Closed
this week?
Sunday, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, congratulations.
It's a real good experience.
I just remember how the lift you had. You said, "You got me for another hour, boss."
Oh, that's a sad statement. That's this whole thing makes it that it. I hope it doesn't even need to be said that it's a very sad thing to contemplate Charles McGill not being on the show. Well,
Oh God.
that's Charles McGill's one thing, but Michael McKean not being on the show, that's a very terrible thought indeed to contemplate.
I spent every day in the editing room after we closed production saying, why did we do this?
Do this because it was the right thing for the story,
want
but
more.
it was not done out of any reason other than that. Obviously,
More Michael McKean. I need more Michael McKean.
No kidding. I love this lady.
Yeah.
Gene
She's
Efron
fabulous.
is just wonderful. I've said it before, we've been so incredibly lucky with our casting. We'll bring in someone, and she was literally cast for season 1, episode 107, which was Jenny's episode. I think she basically said bingo. That was more or less her whole role. And as things moved forward, Jean and her character became more and more important to the show, and she's been wonderful every step of the way. And Bob has a way of doing sincere insincerity that just I can't take my eyes off him. He's just it's funny. But he's funny, he's worried, he's so emotionally invested in everything that she does.
Yeah.
Whose idea was to put Saint Sebastian on the wall of this?
That went back to her season 1.
Yeah.
And so that was Gordon's episode.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
going to blame Gordon the way I tend to do. I'll also say that Bob, in that previous scene, we had the idea that there'd be balloons on a string, and really for no fault of our props department, but for various reasons, the helium did not lift the balloons, and that became
Defective helium?
That was my day right there, was dealing with those balloons, and Bob figured out a way to do it, so you never take another look at it. And I know that sounds so basic, but handling props and being able to act and do all the, it's a very special thing, and so grateful to because he could see me melting down over these fucking balloons.
Good balloon acting. Nice. What mall is this?
Oh, I know where it is.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you the name, but I can tell you how to get there from my place. It's in the north.
I love the train.
Yeah.
I wanted to drive the train, but Peter wouldn't let me.
That's why I'd go to the movies there. There was a cinema there.
Uptown? ABQ Uptown?
It's across from ABQ Uptown.
Okay. Yeah.
It's and that train is just one that we saw. I saw when we were scouting, and I said, "Can we make this? Can we get this train?" And it helped to give a little ending to that scene. I was, again, we have such an incredible production. You just come up with these dumb ideas, and they're able to make these things.
Train. Did you have to bring in a special engineer to drive the train?
Yes, we did. It was the same engineer who did the train episode of Breaking Bad, actually.
Had to fly him in from France.
That's right.
Yeah, no expense was spared. Desa, what's it like to work for Peter Gould?
It's awful.
See?
Terrible. It's a tyrant.
He is. I'm telling you. Well, let's hear the poop. Lay it on us.
I've signed an NDA.
Okay.
Just if you just use the words "thoughtless bastard," I think
that
you
covers
have
it pretty much.
This shot worked out really well. The inspiration, and it's no secret, figuring out how the scene was going to go together was tough, and we were all in the writers' room. We were looking for examples, and then we thought about The Conversation, which we watched again, which is a Francis Coppola movie that I first saw, I think, when I was 10 or 12. The Conversation.
Yeah.
And it's there are some things that go on in that movie editorially and story-wise that are just so beautifully executed that it helped me to understand how we could do this.
Oh, yeah. And what wonderful music.
And what I love about this scene is he's pushed away his brother. He's lost his contacts with his work. So this is now the only thing he has left to fixate on. It's like this itch that needs to be scratched, but it's also the last itch that he has.
You know those itches that kind of seem to get away from you when you scratch them? You know right where it is, then you go, no, that's not where it is. And you got to reach around a little further.
I use Blue Star ointment for that.
But Dave,
I just use a moisturizer.
Now, Dave, we tried to give you an early version of this scene. I remember a couple of weeks before we normally would. What do you do when you look at something like this? I think you had it without any temp music, I hope.
Yeah.
What's your process when you start thinking about something like this?
You had identified the scene early on as something that was going to be a score moment and a long one, and unlike how we usually work on the show, I got in a little early before you guys were even done with the editing on this, and so that some of the actually my original piece for this was probably 2 minutes longer than how it ultimately ended up because you guys cut some time out of it. But it was important because it really, obviously it's a huge scene and a big scene for music, carrying, obviously Michael's work here tells you everything you need to know. But the music is carrying us from basically from cut to cut here through the levels of Chuck's fall or slide down And that's how we sort of looked at it in pieces. I think whenever I look at a piece of music, this has to be this long. I think about it in movements. So we've gone through one. Now we've moved on here to the next.
It's funny because when you do these, when I do something like this, that's just no dialogue, but just kind of trying to be very, very active and look for what I'm looking for, to keep it very, very simple. I never think about scoring because it's not happening to Chuck,
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw this, couldn't have been more delighted. It's perfect.
Well, I'm so thankful for that.
I had assumed that you were going to use something like James Brown,
Yeah.
heavy rhythm stuff,
I voted for The Boys Are Back in
Sex
Town.
Machine.
But I mean,
Or anything, Lizzie, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, composers relish this moment where the writers trust actors and music enough to carry the scene for this long without a lot of talking. And but to give you credit, one of the most amazing things about this show is how quickly and effortlessly you can change perspectives on, from the audience's perspective, who you care about. And just in the course of the last few episodes, we've very carefully built ourselves up to this point where we're allowed to feel this way about Chuck's character.
Yeah.
That's well put.
Where we haven't been in seasons prior.
Yeah.
And Peter, do you find that once you have Dave's cues, does that inspire you to make any editing changes once you've had the music?
Well, once we have the music, we try not to make too many changes because that's going to make Dave's life more difficult. And but I have to say, in the middle of all this, the art department here just did an incredible job.
Yeah.
Don't forget, this is a set. So there's nothing behind the walls in reality. They had to put in all these walls. They had to be able to fly in new walls so we could do a new take. This is Michael Novotny and Steve Brown. It's Michael Novotny, our production designer, Steve Brown, our construction captain or coordinator. Yeah. And they really did, for this scene and the end of the episode, I think an extraordinary job. And the other person I want to mention in that context is Tony Fanning, who was our original production designer on the show and who built this set. And as Michael takes his hammer to these walls, all I can think of is Tony Fanning somewhere in L.A. on another job wincing for reasons that he doesn't quite understand.
It's like the Baskerville Hounds, they know something's up. I didn't really think about it at the time, but the logic of that being a trouble spot, because that's where the hi-fi was. And you can imagine like someone's got a hidden capacitor in there or something, because he had a lot of machines hooked up when he put that together in the 90s, even 80s.
Right.
Yeah. This shot, we only got to do this once. The sun's going down.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad it was because the sun's dimmer, it makes those sparks brighter.
That's true.
That's also the ultimate killing the messenger moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah.
We'll miss that house, though. I mean, both.
Oh,
I know you
yeah.
guys did a lot of it on the stage, but I mean, the house has been such a character in the show.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's a wonderful house. And the folks who own it have been terrific
Folks
to
are
us.
wonderful,
great.
wonderful folks.
They're family, though.
They've been living there since 1940 or the early 40s, and the patriarch built the house himself, I think.
Yeah.
And good folks.
And the sequence was split over 2 nights.
This one.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a very good point. I
is it a
hate
Chevy?
shooting. I hate shooting all night. So we did these. These are what we'll split days, which means though that essentially this is one. I didn't think about this. It's really like shooting it all in one night. This was tough. This was probably one of the toughest sequences to get through.
What made it tough? A lot of pieces?
I couldn't get the number of pieces that I wanted.
Gotcha.
And so I had to sometimes take a simple solution when I had something more elaborate in mind. But I think it's with these things at the time, you're kind of kicking yourself, and then with some distance, you realize that the moments are there, and that's what really counts.
Yeah.
But the sense of place is there. Once we're set up at this location, we really feel where we are. and we're riding with Mando, but it's also sort of like this is a really kind of nasty looking place.
Yeah.
And this is Dave. This is another piece. So they're back to back, these big epic pieces with
And
two very different worlds.
Couldn't be more different. Yeah, just showcasing our two different worlds. And we talked a lot about here, really trying to inject some pace and even freneticism into this that's going to drive us towards the end of the episode and the season, for that matter.
Do you get paid by the note? Is that how that works? how does it work?
If it did on this show, I would be living in a tent. So thankfully, no.
Living in a
Get
van
paid
down by the river.
episode.
That's right.
Desa, what do you remember about the weather during these 2 nights?
Cold. Very,
Cold?
very cold, yes. The crew is standing around in snow boots and parkas and heaters, and these guys are doing such a great job not shivering.
I remember this was right at the end of the season, and we handed out the crew coats for the year, which were a little bit more padded than our usual crew jackets.
Oh, they're awesome, by the way.
I was so
Thank
happy
you,
to
guys.
see people wearing those. And there's the man.
Now, when he and Mando are in the same, when they exchange a look, it's like two actors who don't have to do a damn thing. They are there for us and for each other. They're amazing.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody in this scene, but those two, watching those, Giancarlo and Michael.
And I love Javier. Javier
Yeah.
Grajeda. It's a great guy. Holly, my girlfriend, and I go out to dinner every now and then with him and his lovely girlfriend, Loanne. And he could not be funnier and goofier in real life.
Yeah.
And yet, when he's playing a cartel boss here, he is very
Well, he really
formidable.
considers himself the grown-up in the room.
I think he might be right here.
He
Oh,
is.
yeah,
yeah.
Just
He
the
is,
craziness.
I think pride is a very big theme of this
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
This
So
season.
true. This is also, we're shooting with the Panasonic Varicam, and Marshall had this wonderful idea of lighting this mostly with these lights that you
The
can see in the
practical.
frame, which are practicals, but practicals that have been placed. However, there were other lights that we had no control over that caused him a little bit of heartache. But it was.
Oh, you were telling me there's a factory down
Yes.
the street. He wished he
Yeah.
could have turned the lights off.
If you're interested in this again, there's an article on American Cinematographer that talks a little bit about some of the. Oh, ouch!
Ow. Look, that hurt.
It
Yeah.
really, yeah. I
Why
mean,
do you
it's,
keep beating up on this poor guy?
this, some of that is Mark, when he falls in the foreground, and then there's the wide shot is a stunt performer. But Mark was a good sport about lying on the ground and falling and all this.
I love how there's absolutely no hesitation from Giancarlo's character,
Yeah.
Gus.
to save the guy he
Yeah,
hates more than
exactly.
anyone
Yeah.
else on earth.
Yep.
Yeah,
He's
that's true.
This was an idea we had, I think, way back at the beginning of the season. Wouldn't it be great if Gus had to give CPR, and then here it actually happened. It was fun to finally
You
get
guys
to it.
love to get up on top of us when we're being wheeled into hospitals, don't
Oh
you?
yeah, you
Because
know
you
it.
made it look
That's
so
what you're all
good.
about.
We don't like to show you right side up either.
No. I got plenty of that at home.
Here's that look that
Yeah,
you were
here's that
talking
look
about,
you're
Michael.
talking. Yeah.
It's interesting because we're starting to break season 5, and we've talked a lot about this scene.
Season 5.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Boy,
season 4.
Boy, that was
Oh,
talk
what do you
about-
know that
talk
they don't
about
know?
wishful thinking. There. That would be good.
That
I'd
would
be
be
all
good.
for that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking far ahead.
Yeah.
What can I tell you?
Hey.
Hey,
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, Dave, these two, they got such chemistry together. It's just sweet. It's
I
just
first met Ray. We did a pilot together.
Oh yeah,
I'd never seen her before, and she was so game and so funny, and just loved her. And when I found out you guys had cast her, I went, "Oh, okay, we're onto something here.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing." And she's just been just beyond my wildest dreams about what she's done with this character.
She's just wonderful.
She is, and also she's kind of brilliant. If you talk to her, she's
no kidding.
very unassuming. She does not put on any kind of intellectual airs, but she is so perceptive and so bright, and also just has ideas that would have never occurred to me. She's really a remarkable person and a remarkable performer. I will also say, this whole thing with the chips and the dip. This is pure Jenny. And when we were shooting it, Bob, I don't think it's a secret that Bob is like a lot of folks in Hollywood, he's very healthy. He's health conscious.
This is a good story.
I was told, Bob and Ray would rather not eat chips if it's not going to show. So we'll have some healthy alternative for, the over the shoulders and so on. I said, that's fine. Then Bob ate a Dorito, and he ate another Dorito, and then this is actually the last scene he shot for the season, and he stood up.
And now he weighs 600 pounds.
He stood up and he did a 5-minute monologue about the glory of the Dorito.
It's his first Dorito in 20 years.
That's right.
A really long time.
Got a monkey on my back.
Who said dip it in the cheese, though? Whose idea was that?
This is Jenny. For Jenny. I'm not into dip. I will say that's.
Oh, Peter, you're missing out.
I guess I am.
Oh, dip is. Hey, and by the way, where do you? All joking aside, Blockbuster is a defunct company. How do you get the rights to? Who do you go to get the rights to show a Blockbuster thing?
That's a very good question, Desa. Do you know?
I remember in terms of the titles that we see in the store, we had this massive list of titles that Sony had approved, because there was the thing about the covers and which videos that we could see. So we had to narrow them down by the year and kind of what would be in what genre. And then the Blockbuster generic cover, that was okay and approved, but I don't remember.
But it was a big job. All of it sounds like a big job for a clearance department. Talk about a job and a half. The wonderful folks who do clearance.
And it was touch and go right up to the last minute that we shot, because I know getting permission was. And by the way, we're so grateful to the Blockbuster company for letting us use their logo and trademarks. But it was touch and go. And these things usually take quite a bit of time. So I have to say also, the other thing about the Blockbuster scene is it's exactly the kind of thing that people on another show production would say, well, maybe we don't need that. What really does that add to the story? Can't you just show that Kim is, has Blockbuster videos in the next scene? And I knew in my heart that we could save some time by not actually showing the Blockbuster, but it tickled me. And I'm so glad that it seems to tickle other people too, because it was a lot of trouble.
I bet it's a fun moment, and this is a fun moment. I love this scene.
This is.
And there was snow in those mountains when we.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Yay,
Jesse
Ennis, Aaron Brill,
Jesse, of course, who goes way back with Bob. Jesse appeared as a baby on Mr. Show. She is the daughter of John Ennis, and I'm such a big fan of John's.
Oh, same here.
Super talented.
He really
gentleman.
is.
Wonderful.
He is wonderful. We got to get him on the show.
And his daughter's a chip off the old block.
She's terrific.
She is, and she enjoys acting.
She's very good.
It can be fun.
It's a wonderful thing.
It can be fun.
It's a wonderful thing. You should think about it. Actually, that's. I have to say, Michael, I think you were as happy as I've ever seen you doing Little Foxes.
That's when I'm at my happiest.
You seem to be walking on air, and it was wonderful to see.
The lady in the center with the blue.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Now, which one is her? What's her name? I know her from something.
This is Bonnie
together.
Bartlett.
That's Bonnie?
And Bonnie Bartlett, who is an Emmy winner and is married to William Daniels.
Oh,
that's of course.
And she is wonderful. And she and William Daniels were both on St. Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
of course.
With Ed Begley Jr. So we have some St. Elsewhere alums here, and she was just delightful on set. In fact, all three of those ladies.
Those three ladies did a wonderful job.
They're fabulous. Yeah,
they are.
I love the leggings. I love. Was that
You really
Jennifer
went for
Bryan?
That's Jennifer Bryan.
I love the leggings.
We picked. This is actually probably the most low key of the possible chair yoga outfits he could have worn.
So a little inspiration, a little tip of the hat here, kind of sorted to the end of Facing the Crowd.
A little bit of that,
Yeah.
and also I think we were all thinking about how Chuck entrapped him.
Yeah.
Sort of entrapped him at the end of last season.
Yeah.
And
It's about loose lips sinking a ship.
Yeah.
So true. There's Bonnie.
Well, that's not who I meant. The other lady who had a hat on in the we'll talk
Carol
about it.
Mansell.
What's that?
Carol Mansell.
Carol Mansell.
Oh,
Yeah, I know I've worked with her.
She's fun too. She's
been
wonderful.
around for a long time.
those
She's
ladies, all
fabulous.
three.
Oh, they're
they all did a
couldn't be
wonderful
better.
job. Is the inside of the place we just saw the same as the outside, same location with all
No,
one
the
day?
only there's no room to do chair yoga at this actual location. So that the chair yoga is actually a separate location. What was that? That's some kind of
It was a rec center.
it's a rec
community
center.
center.
It's a community center. They have some wonderful facilities
For
in
only
Albuquerque.
$13 a year.
Wow.
Good deal.
Yeah.
How do you make that work?
Well, you got to be
Why not at even
over
20?
80.
It's called
13.
It's called socialism.
13's good
Vince. Look into it.
Ask your doctor if socialism is right for you.
That's kind of sad. Last time we're going to see. Well, I don't know. We never say
Could
never,
be.
but I mean, looks like an end.
It
to
sure
this,
does.
to
Boy,
this,
this is such a. You guys,
Feels like we've seen Jimmy move so many times.
I know.
I love it.
He can't stay still.
well, now, what is the actual time that's encompassed by the first 3 seasons? What is the chronological
2.5
time?
weeks.
No.
I don't know. We do have this figured out.
yeah, there's
somewhere.
Somebody has it figured out, just not us.
Yeah.
It's been a little over a year.
Do you know what
It's
it is,
under
Desa?
2 years. I think it's within.
about
It's
2
about a
years.
year or
Yeah?
so.
I don't think it's 2 years. Yeah, it's about,
about a year.
I think it's yeah.
I love this actress so much.
She's
just
Tina
so
Tina's wonderful.
She's so good.
delivers.
She really kind of gives him the cold shoulder when she
Well,
when she
yeah.
leaves. She's kind of pissed, right?
Well,
Well,
you know,
because that's her relationship. She has no relationship with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy's relationship is only the other guy.
And even her relationship with Saul is very cold as
yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
I think this looks like the start of that.
although how she's going to become his assistant now is a big question for
She must be in dire
future
straits.
for future seasons.
Must really need that dental insurance or something. Yeah.
Ever again. I'm gonna need a whole.
Or there's some other reason.
There could be. There's
It's a thin line between love and
Her
hate.
presence might be at least inspired by Kim's absence.
Yeah.
interesting.
We don't know.
Wow.
What is that weird
We need you in
gray
the writers'
thing?
room.
What is that weird gray thing?
It's called a Rolodex.
It's called the.
Vince.
We taught.
Google Rolodex.
Yeah, we're teaching the audience about obsolete technology
Yeah.
on this show. That's one of our focuses
And
here.
we're trying to get them hooked on smoking again.
That's,
Kids, it only looks cool.
But like everything else, you guys set that up so nicely. I mean, we understand that Rolodex because in that previous scene, we'd had that great sequence where he called everybody from A to Z. Right?
Yeah.
that was fun. This is another shot Marshall came up with.
I think it's interesting how they're looking at the wall and you make us wait this long to see what they were looking at, which I think was a nice touch.
Yeah. We're seeing a POV that they didn't have, though.
That's true.
Meanwhile,
That's true. We're seeing that last little look at Wexler McGill.
You know how weird I am? I thought that was shag carpeting the first time I saw this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we were
should
outside.
spend more time on the set.
Well,
Vince.
we put crickets on there to try to help with that. And you know, I did my best. I wish everyone who's listening to this could see what the art department did with this set.
Oh, my
because
Lord.
I think we just sort of see some of it. Hopefully it's enough to get the idea, but it is just remarkable.
And this is so sad. I just feel so bad for Chuck here.
Oh God.
Do you think he's doing this on purpose, right? I mean, what do you think?
I think he's... guys, I don't know. I think that he knows what he's doing to a certain extent. But I really wanted those pill bottles in there because I wanted this to be a man not making a decision from a defendable point of view.
Yeah.
And it's not a decision. A decision has square edges. These are all rounded off.
Right.
That's well
That's
put.
one of the reasons why we didn't score this scene, too, I think, because I think music would have tilted people's perception a given way,
Well
and I
put.
think the
Well-
ambiguity is so much better.
I think the first 10 thumps without an explanation of what they are really helps us.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
In Shades of Breaking Bad, here's the first time we don't use our end credit sequence that we've been using all along, but did a custom one because our usual up and fun end
Yeah,
of
it
the
would've
Better
been
Call Saul just was not
jarring.
going to work here.
Yeah, good
I
point.
don't know if that's
Every one of these names.
may have set me up for many more seasons
no.
of
Oh, get this. What a
custom
what a
end credits, but
what
you
a
get paid by
wonderfully.
the note. It's fine.
oh right, I forgot.
I also have to give a shout out to Joseph Ulibarri, who was helping us use a real lantern in that last scene. It's
Right,
remarkable
right.
work.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
Great job,
Terrific
everybody.
job,
Excellent
Peter
work.
Gould.